Welcome to the Faster, Easier, Better show with your hosts LeeSilber and Ellen Goodwin. This podcast is short, fun, and jam-packed with good ideas that you can start using right away. And here's your hosts, Lee and Ellen.
Welcome to the Faster, Easier, Better show. I'm Ellen Goodwin along with my co-host,
LeeSilber.
Welcome to the show, Lee. It's so good to see you. What do you want to talk about today?
Well, sometimes, we did an episode about shiny things, and
Yeah.
we meant it in a different way. But sometimes that new app or that new software is going to solve all your problems and make your life so much better, and you're going to be doing things so much faster and be so efficient. And in reality, it takes a lot of time to learn it. It doesn't always work the way you think it's going to work. And in the end, you would have been better off just doing it the old-fashioned way. So today is about not necessarily all the new apps and all the things, how sometimes the old way is the best way.
The old way, the old country way.
The analog way.
The analog way. You know what? I completely agree with you. I keep a paper calendar. I don't have it digitally because for me,
You say it like I'm going to shame you.
No, because I think I don't.
I do too. In our families, the week we have a weekly calendar on the refrigerator, like all families that have multiple kids with projects and
Oh yeah.
other priorities. It's all on paper.
Yes.
And hey, get this. So if you need to delete something, you use an eraser.
Whoa! That's crazy talk right
I
there.
know. I know.
No, we just instituted a paper calendar because, a group calendar, my husband and I, because otherwise, it's too easy not to be tracking or to let months go by where it's like, we said we were going to do this one weekend a month, and then the month goes by and you don't see it. They did a study where if you're trying to get out of the house, let's say in the morning, your kids, I don't know how good your kids are to get out of the house for school, but if you've got kids and you've got, you're always going, hey, you've got 10 minutes, it's way better to have a regular faced clock, not a digital clock.
Interesting.
So you can actually see the passage of time, because just the flashing digital doesn't give you the idea of time passing.
You do wear a watch.
Well, a Fitbit.
Okay. But I'm a big believer in, any kind of watch, but an actual watch.
For those
watch.
listening, Lee has a beautiful watch there. Rolex?
Sure.
Oh, it's a Rolodex.
That's funny. But the thing is, I just think there are certain, not everything. Believe me, I wouldn't say I'm all in technology, but I embrace it.
Yeah.
But certain
yeah.
things I found that I want to touch it, feel it. For me, yeah.
Okay, Lee,
all right,
not that episode.
Here we go. So if, let's say my house was burning down and I knew I could only grab 3 or 4 things, I would probably, other than the essentials, the
Yeah.
kids and whatnot, it would be my idea book. That's so
Nice.
valuable, and yet it's not a digital thing. It's a hand.
Yeah.
I tape things in, I draw things, and it's all somehow that one thing is better the old-fashioned way. With
Yeah.
handwritten drawings, pens.
Versus putting it all in Evernote.
Yeah, I know. I use that too, but for some reason, and that's a great program, and don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, but
No.
just there's something about just the tactile way of
I
drawing
am
and touching.
so right. I'm right there with you because and the great thing about that is when you do, you can touch them and move them around, and you can find new parts where they go together that you didn't have. I know there's a word, and I'm not just putting it
But
together.
there are things that you could, like for me, I have done this, taken a picture of a page from the idea book and sent it to someone.
Oh, okay.
Or we digitized it, and so it was a drawing or something.
Uh-huh.
And then we, use Photoshop or Illustrator, and you know what I mean. But
Right.
But to actually start the idea from the brain, it's usually something that and maybe I'll even say the idea on my phone or call myself and leave a message
Uh-huh.
or email but eventually it ends up in the idea book, and there's a lot of things like that. I think Quicken is great for some people. I still keep my books the old-fashioned way, with a ledger book. I just
Right.
and an accordion file. Just drop the receipt in.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've talked about this before.
We
I
did.
tried Quicken, and I thought, you know what? It's a great program. It's just not right for
It's
me.
just not right for you.
So we sometimes feel like we're compelled, like this new shiny
Uh-huh.
thing, and some of them are great. The vacuum cleaner that vacuums your house while you're gone. I get that. But other things, I think it's okay to not have to switch over to digital to still be an analog
Yeah,
person.
I do a lot of my writing on yellow Lego pads. There's something about just sitting down and writing. I just ordered another dozen of them because I just love them so much. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
they're
When I create a speech or a
uh-huh.
book or an article, I use index cards.
Oh,
Because
smart.
writing on paper, it's once it's in a list or some sort of, it's
Yeah,
like seems like you're unlikely to change it.
good point.
Whereas post-it notes or index cards, they're small little things that can be moved around,
Yeah,
and you start to see patterns. And so I move it, make a stack. Okay, well this is the opening, this is the middle, this is the closing. But it's something about the flexibility of it, and
hmm.
that I could put them up on the wall and see them. I guess if you had a huge screen, you could do it with, digitally, but
Right.
there's just something about the ease of it. I write it down, I tape it up,
Mm-hmm.
or I put the post note up, and then I can
Uh-huh.
move it around. I'm just saying, when you see something new come out and you think, well, it's expensive, it's going to take up a lot of my memory, and I'm going to have to learn it.
Right.
Sometimes it's just more efficient to just do it the old-fashioned way. If it's working, what is it? If it's not broken,
If it's not broken, don't fix it,
okay,
or something
we're
like that.
near the end of that. Yeah.
Well, and and I agree with the sticky notes and stuff, and I love the idea for using that for putting together speeches and books. I have a friend in my mastermind who takes and she does her to-do list. Each task is on a sticky note, and she has them in different categories on her wall, and she
Hmm.
calls it her wall of pain. And not the most exciting thing to call it, but that way she can move things around, and this is, I'm going to work on this at this point, and these all go together for this high value thing, or this is low value. So yeah, just doing it that way, and for her it's just so much easier.
Yeah.
So
Believe me, when digital hit, it changed our lives. Obviously, I mean, it's such an
obviously.
obvious statement. And our phone, which really isn't a phone anymore, also changed our lives. And we should probably use it to the max. But there's times, and I'm only telling you my
Right.
few things where I find the old-fashioned way better. But I bet there's something that you would find it easier to do it, even though you're tempted. People tell you you need to get with the times, but it's working just fine, and
This works
yeah.
fine.
So I'm giving you permission to
Thank
do it the
you.
old-fashioned way if it's still working, and the better way isn't really better.
Okay, I have one last question for you before we wrap up this episode. How many volumes of the idea book do you have?
7.
7.
I would grab them all, even some of
Okay, is it like one per year, or you just like start
No,
them and I
when
go?
it's full, then I move on to the
Okay,
next one.
perfect.
But half the projects, half of the books, half the ideas that
Mhm.
they're all. I mean, it's so valuable to me,
Right.
the idea book. And sometimes I did write it on, the old a napkin. But then I put
Mhm.
the napkin in the book, and there it is. It's all in one place.
Inquiring minds wanted to know. All right, that's it for today's episode of the Faster, Easier, Better show. Join us again next week.